Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Destination Pro Wrestling. In this video, we're going to take a look at three major stories. WWE has banned Ric Flair. Also, some topics that I think we really got to just talk about. AEW outselling WWE in attendance. No reason to panic just yet, but it's something to definitely look into. I think this is a little bit more important than ratings, and I'll explain why in just a little bit. But also, AEW Backstage drama. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, so we're talking about it in today's video. As always, your subscription to this channel is greatly appreciated as we're looking at closing in on 30,000 subscribers this month. All right, guys, so let's talk about AEW outselling WWE. AEW had an outstanding performance this past month, September 2021. They outsold WWE in regards to live attendance, and that is actually a really big accomplishment for AEW. Now, what happens pretty often is we're talking about WWE versus AEW, but in this situation, we just got to look at AEW as a standalone, not in a competitive atmosphere at the moment. They are doing larger venues than they were a year ago. On top of that, AEW is coming off of a pandemic, which basically led to AEW being, 5,000 or less in attendance for Daly's Place. And AEW is now selling in venues doing 19 or 20,000 tickets. On top of that, AEW is beating WWE. Now, that's not a reason for people to panic in WWE because WWE's business model works the way it's just they're profitable. Okay, this is not going to hurt WWE. But I don't want to look at this as a competitive thing. I want to look at this as a great thing for AEW because, Dynamite, let's face it, Dynamite and Rampage ratings have dropped a little bit. But the thing is, AEW's attendance is up. WWE's business model is content. So you actually see WWE doing less house shows and more content, right? AEW is in the business, because they're not a publicly traded company, they're in the business of live attendance, ratings, content, social media, merchandise, and brand deals and advertising and things like that. So AEW has a lot of different things that they need to make sure they're doing good with because, well, let's face it, they need to. Like, in order to survive, they literally need to. So if one aspect of the business is not booming, well, all these other things should be doing really well. And the good thing for AEW is not only ratings, ratings might have dropped a little bit, but ratings are still good for AEW. Attendance is better than expected. And on top of that, their TV partners are happy. So something to just consider, AEW is outselling WWE. Obviously, post, shutdowns and everything like that, now that the country is starting to open up again, they're going to hit certain markets that they know they will sell tickets. You're going to see that from WWE and AEW. And if you're a WWE fan, this is not something to worry about. It's just something cool to see that AEW, WWE is kind of like the measuring stick, and AEW is up there. And that's like a really, really good thing to see for a new wrestling company. Just something to consider. All right, guys, some more AEW news. We know that there is some backstage drama between the executive vice presidents in AEW. This has actually been something that's been talked about for a while. Nobody really knew what was going on. And then we got some news that Tony Khan runs 100% of the AEW creative. So if you guys follow Destination PW, I've kind of been keeping you updated on this story as time goes on. Well, in today's video, we have an update, because now we finally have an idea of what's really going on with the EVPs. So it's basically being said that each executive vice president has its own role. Cody does a lot of the in-meeting stuff with Tony Khan. The rest of the EVPs don't. Kenny Omega's in charge of AEW games. The Jacksons are obviously, the Young Bucks. They're in charge of merchandise and being the elite. And then obviously, Kenny Omega, AEW games, Tony Khan, creative, Cody and Brandy are doing their own thing. Like, this is like a really crazy thing when you think about it, because AEW is in a situation, if we're being honest, AEW is in a situation where we all kind of knew that the EVPs would have some drama. The fact that none of them are behind closed door meetings with Cody and Tony Khan is kind of interesting. But whatever it is, regardless of all this reported drama that's happening and Cody Rhodes kind of distancing himself from the guys, and if this stuff is all true, to be honest, I feel like you won't even notice this because it's not coming across their TV product. So if this drama is actually real and this stuff is really happening, hey, it is not impacting the product. Don't let it impact the product, because otherwise that's when there's real problems that come out of it. But if Cody is running like business stuff with Tony, and then you got the Bucks being the Elite and merchandise, which by the way are two very, very successful ventures for them, I don't see a problem with it. So yes, business does obviously, the biggest thing I've ever heard is don't do business with your friends unless you could really, really trust them. And even that, it's not a good recommendation. This is just something that I found very interesting, because now we actually know what they're doing, and we know that there are reportedly some issues there, but whatever it is, it's not really hurting the product. And hopefully it never gets to that point, because if it does, then it's obviously going to impact everything else. But shout out to Tony Khan too, because Tony Khan's holding everything down 100% in the way, and he's pretty much being the leader that the company needs. And I feel like they fixed this before it started impacting the company, which is great news. So all right, guys, final story of the day. We got to talk about it. Ric Flair is reportedly banned from WWE. Yeah, so apparently the big thing here is that like the TV networks and advertising partners and stuff like that, they don't want any references to Ric Flair. They don't want Ric Flair on the TV. They don't want any clips. They don't want any footage. They don't want anything to do with Ric Flair on their product. Now, as you guys know, Ric Flair did ask for his release from WWE. WWE did, in fact, release Ric Flair. But, of course, as always, whenever there's legends and stuff like that, WWE has a tendency to put them on TV, give them a little bit of a showcase, footage, whatever it may be, right? In this situation, WWE actually removed Ric Flair from the Then, Now, and Forever intro. We talked a little bit about that last week on this channel, but now we know that the TV executives, the partners, they do not want Ric Flair on WWE television. They don't want any references made. But also, we have to talk a little bit about AEW here, and this is not just an AEW channel, but obviously AEW is doing great things these days. What was going to happen between Ric Flair and AEW? Because the move was always speculated that Ric Flair was going to AEW. So WWE takes off Ric Flair from the intro. There's no references made to him. They don't refer to Charlotte Flair as the daughter of Ric Flair, right? AEW was rumored to bring in Ric Flair. I mean, at this point, is it a situation where like AEW and Tony Khan just completely let that fizzle out? Because we haven't seen Ric Flair backstage, and he was there a couple of weeks in a row. So we haven't seen Ric Flair backstage. They've not done anything to lead to more speculation, because obviously we knew what they were doing with Andrade. None of these things are happening anymore. So WWE has banned Ric Flair. The real question is, what is AEW's stance on this? Because AEW was going to bring him in. Now it doesn't seem like it's happening. Here's the thing, guys. Dark Side of the Ring definitely, it's funny. Dark Side of the Ring is not like the most popular show. It does 100 to 200,000 viewers, but it seems like Dark Side of the Ring really, really made an impact recently. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. As always, more videos like this, DPW, every single day. I'll see you guys next time right here on Destination PW. Thanks for watching.